Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. Maiga here. It's been 5 months since I've updated anything on this channel, especially because my Chekhov's crutches over there. This is such a bad intro. Oh my god. I'm very out of practice, so this is gonna be very rusty, but I was watching back the vlogs I made last summer and my year-end recap, which actually Café con Leche turns 3 years old on the 27th of May. I'm recording this on the 21st. If you see the tail, that's Marin. It's like I need to wrap this year up. I need to make this video because I'd like to make vlogs again. So the next section we're gonna jump into are important dates. There's some pins that I carried over from the previous videos, things that I wasn't able to talk about. One of those things is still not public information, but everything else has been public, either on my Instagram where I publicize all like my major things, or like my rejections, which are also public, not because I share them, but because someone else, you know, shares that they won it. Because like if you look at my Instagram right now, all you see are like highlight reels, but I make these videos and I also include the rejections because I'm applying to way more things that I publicly win, especially in a field like musical theater where it's super competitive and everyone is like very skilled. You have to do that. And you know, I think that the thing that people don't really want to publicize about the rejections, it's like, well, if I was rejected from this, then someone else could apply to that. But I'm not afraid of that. Like, I'm not going to gatekeep, you know, unless I'm told to by like the people that I'm working with, which is like, could be legal, could be an NDA. It's a lot of reasons why I had to beep stuff out. But if it's within my power, I'm going to share it. So with that in mind, on the 14th of December last year, I finished my first semester of grad school. Then on the 18th, on the 19th, cannot tell you, that's one of those beeps from the last one. I'm gonna put it here so I can beep myself. I'm hoping to make a video about this process once this goes public, hopefully late summer, early fall. Last year, I applied for the NYU HEROES grant, which is a grant that supports BIPOC creators, BIPOC writers in particular, who are students at Tisch who need funds to develop projects. So I was applying to that with Café. And on the 19th, which was the same day as Redacted, I found out that I made it to the next round. Okay, let's jump to January 2024. I had a little writing retreat with my best friend Michael for that. That was super great. So because I didn't have a chance to work on the book of the show all of fall semester, I just wrote a lot of songs. Now it's time to like take those songs, fit them into the book, and do like a hard rewrite. And then on the 3rd of January, Brandon and Felipe and I were doing casting for the show. So we're casting 2 months out before we even meet for this 1 week workshop of my show. On the 9th, got rejected from the Soros New American Fellowship, which is a big deal. That fellowship would have covered the entirety of my graduate career. It also would have gotten me in the New York Times, but I didn't get it, and that really sucks. Then on the 8th to the 12th, around that same time, I was also building the HEROES presentation and budget proposal with my NYU mentor. Then on the 16th of January, I had my pitch presentation, which ended up going super well. It was a panelist of, you know, real world professionals plus NYU faculty and staff. And it's so thrilling to present your project and then be like, you know who you should work with? Josefina Lopez, who is the writer of Real Women Have Curves, which is a great play and a great movie starring America Ferrera, and they're like, you should work with her, you should talk with her. And having someone who was in the original cast of that listen to the pitch of your musical and tell you that is like literally made me freak out in the room. And it was a good sign for the project. But even if I hadn't won it, at that point, to just know that there are people in the room who are like, this thing kills and is great, is so good, especially because like I just got rejected from Soros. So having to go in there and be like, here I am pitching myself again and again and again. Oh, okay. And one last thing that I'm gonna put here, and it's out of order, just because like this, during winter break, which was this January period, I was doing so much, all with the thought of like, I have this presentation with you on the Verge, which I promised would be the whole first act. And as I was going through it, I realized I'm not gonna finish. I'm not gonna finish the first act to my satisfaction. I think I'm still too much of a control freak about the product and about the project, and I don't feel super comfortable like sharing it unless I feel like it's really, really good, instead of knowing that like it's not going to be good, it's not going to be great, and people still need to see it so that I know how to fix it, because I can't anticipate everything that people are going to say until it's in the room and fresh. All of that to say that I met with Amanda on the 15th and I was like, I'm going to drop out of the festival because I'm only going to be happy with maybe the first 3 scenes of the show. And Amanda was like, Theater on the Verge is for writers to do whatever they want. That could be your full piece fully orchestrated, or it could be your first 3 scenes of your show. So, you know, after being reaffirmed by them and you know, they're the one who put the project together, so it's really up to them, I felt much more comfortable moving forward. And so I was meeting with John bi-weekly during this time as well, as I was preparing the first 3 scenes, which I'm super happy with. And genuinely now I can say, as of this draft, I'm pretty much unchanged. Like there'll be like minor revisions and lyrics and stuff, but they're good. Now I have to just keep pushing forward and writing the bad play. We'll get to that. On the 30th of January, I won the Heroes Grant. I'm the first ever person from Graduate Musical Theater at NYU to win this grant. I'm honored to be the first. Hopefully I won't be the last. You know, they gave me a good chunk of change to do a reading of the show, and I'm so thankful that they loved Café. I was one of 8 winners. So it was a really intense application process. And I think the thing that I'm most thrilled about is that in 3 years, I get to be a mentor for someone. And then on the 31st, I applied for, and this also I can say since it's been long past due, but on the 31st, I applied for the Rooftop Writers Initiative with Merrily We Roll Along, plus the Jonathan Larson Foundation, the Stephen Sondheim Foundation, and American Express, to win 2 tickets to see Merrily We Roll Along, but also to be recognized as one of the up-and-coming musical theater writers. So I applied to that. I sent Café over, as I always do. Café is my calling card right now, and I applied for that day. Then in February, I was working like a mad woman, recording demos, but on the 10th, I met with Felipe to talk arrangements. We did 7 songs of the musical in full for this presentation. We had to make demos, transcribe, blah, 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 arrangements. Like, you know, Felipe went all out, and I'm really thankful. I don't think the process would have been possible without him. I will talk more about that in a different video, because there's just like a lot of things that went into it that I think are absolutely necessary to break down for the process if you have never done a workshop of your musical. So I want to give it its own video so people can rely on that. But at this point, we met to talk arrangements. Then on the 19th, I submitted to the Hansberry Lilly Fellowship at the Dramatists Guild. A friend of mine, Emmy, actually sent it to me and was like, you should apply to this. I applied on the 19th. I found out on the 9th of this month that I didn't get it. I knew by the time that the Dramatists Guild Foundation like gala happened and I hadn't heard back that I probably wasn't gonna get it. It was still devastating, but reading back that essay, I realized that I didn't do a good job of selling myself, but I'm just not very good at writing essays about myself and pitching myself as a worthwhile investment, and I need to get better at that. And I also think like I just didn't give it enough time. I keep writing these essays like last minute and proofreading them last minute, and I think what I need to do is actually start the application process way earlier and proofread longer and have other people read them like I did for grad school. You know what I'm saying? And then on the 26th of February, I had my Heroes onboarding where I met everyone else. This is a grant that has a really strong mentorship cohort. So we're meeting every month, and this was like the first month we met. And then there's like delineation between like undergrads and grad students. And it's so cool to meet some really young undergrads who are like doing their thing, especially filmmakers who I don't know a lot of. And then also, you know, meeting graduate students from different areas of Tisch that I don't know, and sort of extending the net out and getting to meet like people in different areas, people who do different types of art. Also, this cohort is the first cohort to be all women, and I think there's something really exciting about that. Women of color coming together, changing the world. Yeah, and then on the 29th of February, leap year this year, I went to Merrily We Roll Along and, you know, became a winner. I was almost late to that. I was like the last person to get there. It was my first time seeing Merrily We Roll Along. It's not a Sondheim score that I was attracted to as a kid. And by kid, I do mean like high school. You know, I was definitely more into Assassins and Passion, like more of like his late period stuff. And also because I just didn't see myself as a writer back then, even though I was like, oh, I'm such a good writer if I have a prompt. That was always what I told myself. Anyway, all that to say is that I saw Merrily and oh boy, it hits different. It hits different. And we got to have like this talk back and sit in the audience for this talk back with like Daniel Radcliffe and Jonathan Groff and Lindsay Mendez, and you know, getting their interviews and getting their perspectives, and performances are stellar. I never would have been able to afford this ticket without this, and to be recognized in this way is so freaking cool. It's just really cool. Okay, I have to like record these in bits because I'm recording this on my phone, and if I record like an hour straight, my phone will be like, I can't send you this file, it's too big. Love that. On the 1st, Felipe moved in. We're officially roommates, woot woot, which means we have to be really strict about like work-life balance. And then on the 2nd of March, we had our first production meeting for CCL for the workshop that was coming up. Dream team of friends helping me bring this project together. I'm so thankful for every single one of them. 8th of March was my birthday, woot woot. On the 9th of March, I had a really interesting conundrum. I want to talk about it here because I'm not going to talk about it again, just sort of as a warning to people who are watching this. So on this day, I officially sort of turned down this workshop opportunity that I had. So I was going to do the workshop in March for Theater on the Verge, and then I was offered a second workshop sometime in April. When I was offered that, I was a bit surprised by who offered it to me. We aren't particularly close. They don't necessarily love me, but I was still really thrilled and honored that they thought my piece was strong enough to bring to this next level. And so I accepted. During that time, I was sent some information that depending on what Facebook groups you're in and sort of all this stuff, you might already know, or you might, I'm not gonna drop it here because this thing is essentially defunct now. But all that to say that that made its way to me because I wasn't in those Facebook groups. I wasn't, you know, in that conversation. And I reached out to people to independently verify, and there had been some murmurings. And at the end of the day, like, theater is like this very professional, but also like, you know, there's no HR department. The lines are very blended, and so you yourself have to feel very strong internally to do stuff. When I reached that information, I actually reached out to my mentors, and I was like, what the fuck do I do? Not to mention that because I was brought on, they brought on a team of people who were gonna get paid. The people who are making money off of this. I was making money off of this. I just lost my job. So I was like, great, I'm going to be making some money, which I need. And this whole team, right, like music directors and actors were brought in. And one of my really, you know, somebody who I admire just said, like, you know, do something that feels right to your art, to your spirit, and also to like how you envision your work being in the world. That sat with me. And, you know, I that day I spoke with my director, and I was like, I got this information, have you heard it? I don't feel comfortable, but I also don't want to leave you without a job. And they were like, that's really considerate of you, but I'm fine. Everyone will be fine. It's not like we're making that much money anyway. So I decided to pull the plug. My conscience is clear. Do what's best for your conscience. It will haunt you. Like I you know, this is what I've learned through this process. Like ultimately, if you don't make a decision will be made for you. But if you do make a decision, then it's one that you have to live with. And I chose my conscience over money and access for this. Future me watching this, remember this moment. That was the day after my birthday. On the 15th, I submitted the final script for CCL for the team. I would never do this again. I have to finish much earlier if I want my actors to have a chance, but everyone was very kind with me, as this was my first experience doing this and working on this and by myself, and luckily I have Felipe's support. I will talk about this more in my workshop video. 16th, I printed that. On the 18th to the 22nd, I was rehearsing the show every day, 12 to 5. In a workshop setting, incredible, at the Dramatists Guild Composers Corner. Really thankful to have had that. As a member of the Dramatists Guild, I get free access to the rehearsal space. You know, it was a tiny little room, but it did its job. It did what it needed to do. Super thankful for that. And for the fact that it was free. The free space is really sort of what the thing is. You know, they were like, are you a fellow? And I was like, not yet. I didn't end up getting the fellowship, so beat my ass. Yeah, then on the 23rd, we had the presentation, drove through a monsoon. I will go into more detail, but there is a performance of that. There is a video of that. I think I'm going to be uploading that to YouTube at some point, probably. Unlisted, sharing it on Patreon so you can see it, because I'm gonna be sending that out as material for things. Thankful to have had it recorded. I haven't seen it yet. It makes me too nervous to see it, but I need to send it to my mentor. Oh, my hero's mentor is Josefina. Josefina Lopez is my mentor, which is crazy. Like, so anyway, I need to send that to her so that she can watch it and give me some feedback. And talking about Josefina, on the 27th, I met with her for the first time. I was so busy with grad school, I didn't have a chance to meet with her sooner, even though I'd gotten accepted like in January. So things were swirling out of control. Then let's jump to April 2024, where my life comes to a screeching halt. But on the days before that, on the 8th, I met with Hector to talk about Redacted. And that's how I know it's going to happen. Hopefully sometime late summer, early fall. So I'll keep you posted. Then on the 12th, I had the real privilege to present Café con Leche to the NYU Tisch Dean, Allison Green. The 8 of us got to pitch it. And she was like, do you know Javier Munoz? And I was like, do I know Javier Munoz? Of course I know him. He is only the alternate to Lin Manuel, literally in everything. And he's an NYU grad. And Josefina was like, you need to work with him. You need to meet. And that was like, anyway, it blows my mind that people are so into Café that they're like, you need to start meeting people and you need to connect here and you need to do this. So I actually need to reach out to her to meet with Javier once I'm able to walk, because literally the 15th, that Monday, like the 12th was the last day of classes from the 15th to the 10th of May, which was my last like presentation for grad school. We had 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks actually, to write a 20-minute musical. I wrote something called The Flowering with my friend Tess, and we wrote this really cool piece, which works both as a play and as a fully sunk through musical. And so we're trying to find sort of the best way to pitch it to theaters, XYZ. All that to say is that the 15th was my first day off, literally my first day off. I didn't have class or anything. And I, you know, this is TMI, but it was like the day before my period. So my brain was just like, and I was feeling horrible. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go try this library in Brooklyn that I really want to go to, that I've been meaning to go to literally the whole time I've been here. And then I went and I fell on the 15th. I stepped in the car. I waited an hour for EMS to show up. I have so many things that I would say that I don't think I should put in a public YouTube video, but all of this to say is that New York is definitely for the able-bodied, and it has been so hard to maneuver New York when you can't walk. I live up 3 flights of stairs. Walking is agonizing, so I can't, I can't do anything. My doctor was like, it's very easy to get depressed. I feel like you're in a depressive state when this happens. And it's like, no fucking shit. I'm stuck in bed all day. But yeah, also what's really funny is that it took EMS an hour to get there, and I was literally a block away from the hospital. They almost dropped me when they picked me up. Luckily, I have very, very good health insurance. Otherwise, this would have been catastrophic financially. Absolutely catastrophic financially. I'm very blessed that my husband has a really great job and that I'm able to be covered by his insurance. Otherwise, this would have been like the worst day of my life. Not only because I'm like in a lot of physical pain and I literally physically could not get up from the pavement, but also because I would have, I'm gonna be in physical therapy for the next 4 months. Like the amount of money that I would be, putting on the line is sort of crazy. All that to say is that New York lives up to the hype in terms of its people. Very, very nice people. When I fell physically onto the street in traffic. Luckily, I fell right at the corner, but there was cars. It was a really busy intersection. And so like a group of New Yorkers who did not know me made sure to circle around me as I waited for EMS to come and get me so that I wouldn't get stepped on and or run over by cars. People waited for a whole hour to make sure that I would be able to go. And that was the nicest thing anyone has done. This sweet girl named Aubrey, she stayed with me the whole time. She called EMS, she gave me her phone number, and she's the reason that I got help along with a complete group of strangers who I do not know. It's one of the most traumatic things I've gone through. Very thankful for those people who did not have to do that. And they did that out of the kindness of their hearts, especially because like I was alone. Like I went by myself thinking nothing of it. I will say my lesson from that is like, listen to your gut, because in my heart I was like, I don't want to go here. I should go to NYU. I should do this. And I kept fighting against what I was feeling inside, and it led to this. So at the very least now I need to be like, listen to your insides, listen to yourself, trust your gut, trust your intuition, because that's what's gonna guide you through this. So yeah, then my life stopped pretty much from there. Like I've been laying on this bed or being on the couch with my feet out for a month and some change now. Very thankful to have a group of friends who were willing to help me out. And that was pretty much like the remainder of my April. Like it was trying to get better, trying to like live with the pain and getting help from my family to like stand up, to shower. Like I have a shower chair now. It's really physically taxing for me to stand for more than like 2 minutes, I went from being able to fully walk to like not being able to like really be independent. And every time I talk to my physicians, because I have a couple, I have like my primary care, I have my physical therapist, I have my like ortho, they all just laugh and they're like, how did you sprain both of them? I'm like, I don't know. It's like the odds of spraining both of your ankles this severely is so unheard of, so uncommon, and it would happen to me. Got lucky with that, I guess. Then on the 6th of May, my original piece, which I wrote with one of my collaborators in Cycle 34, we wrote a dance piece. We got selected by the City Center Dance Fellow. Like, she liked our piece and she was like, I want to choreograph it for my final project as a City Center Fellow. And I didn't even get to go because I was injured still. And Yanni did such a gorgeous job with the piece, and officially, like, I have a credit where you can see my dance music. I wrote like the lyrics and also the like beat dramatic structure of the piece. Commodore wrote the music, Nayani did the choreography. So this was literally one of those things where it was like a level of collaboration that I, you know, usually went from writing alone to writing a piece this intense, and then to have it professionally debuted. So yeah, this year, like, I have that City Center win, which, you know, in my head, I'm like, I wrote this as an assignment for class, but the fact that I got selected was super cool. And then on the 10th of May, I presented my 20-minute musical. I love the flowering. It's, you know, one of those concepts that I've been playing around in my head. I feel really strong as a playwright right now, feeling very weak as a lyricist, and I think I'm gonna keep doing that cycle for the rest of my life of like, am I a strong lyricist? Am I a strong book writer? Am I a strong musician? And then those things are going to take turns. And then on the 14th, found out the thesis results. Gonna be working with Felipe. I am not gonna be vlogging about that. One, because this project was made with Café con Leche in mind. So as long as Café con Leche doesn't have like a major production or something, I will keep doing this vlog. The 15th, we ended the semester. Yeah, and then I took a vacation with my husband who was here. He left on Sunday, and now I'm making this. We're back on the grind. You'll see what I'm talking about with literally the vlog that will come out after this. Anyway, all that to say, it's a long fucking video. If you know me in real life, don't talk to me about this. And I'll see you later in a whole new video. Bye.